Hello and greetings, my friends. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my kitchen. If you are new here, my name is Alicia. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. And if you're not new, thank you so much for coming back. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you all of the dinners that I made for my family this past week. So let's just get right into it. One of the dinners I made this past week is my easy oven-baked chicken parmesan. I love this so much. I've always been a huge fan of chicken parm, but I never liked to make it only because it involved a lot of work. Like I didn't like the idea of frying them and then having to move them to like a different pan. It was just kind of a mess. But this one is just way easier to deal with because it's all made in one pan. So I saute the chicken in my cast iron skillet and then I move it from the stovetop into my oven. Makes it way easier, and this is a lot healthier too. So to begin, I like using cake pans whenever I need to dredge anything. I just think that bowls are just not deep enough. So use cake pans or even pie pans. That's my preferable dish of choice. So you're going to make your wet ingredients in one and then your dry ingredients in the other. And then definitely season up your chicken breasts before dredging them. I know you're going to run them through like the egg mixture and then the breadcrumb mixture, and you think that's maybe enough seasoning, but trust me, you're going to taste a big difference if you don't season with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. So once you've seasoned one side, go ahead and flip them and do the exact same seasonings on the other side. By the way, these are chicken breasts that I got from Costco, and they were actually kind of smaller anyway, but I did decide to pound them a little bit flatter just so that they would all cook evenly. There is one little tiny chicken breast though. I was like, what the heck? This is so tiny for Costco chicken, but it ended up being perfect. My daughter ended up having that little small piece, but if you have thicker chicken breasts, definitely either cut them in half or just pound them flat with like a kitchen mallet or something. And now it is time for the dredging. So you go into the egg first and then into the breadcrumbs, then kind of shake off the excess, place it on a plate, and then repeat with the remaining chicken breasts. And then in a cast iron skillet or a large skillet, whatever you have, add in a little bit of olive oil. So generally you fry up chicken parm in like about a ½ inch or so, maybe even more of oil. I don't like doing that. I'm just going to give these guys a good sear, so a really nice brown on both sides. So for one side, I'm going to brown it for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'm going to flip them, do another 2 to 3 minutes or so, and then move the entire cast iron skillet into the oven. So if I am not using my own homemade marinara sauce, I'm using either Rao's or this Aldi marinara sauce. Everyone has been talking about how delicious this marinara sauce is, and it is. And it tastes very similar to Rao's, except it's a little bit chunkier, and I find like it's a little bit thicker. So if you don't want it to be as chunky, I would definitely put this like in a food processor and maybe add in a little bit of like olive oil or something to thin it out a bit. But the taste is very comparable. The price though is phenomenal. You can't even beat that price compared to Rao's. So good. So anyway, so I'm putting a couple tablespoons, generous tablespoons of marinara sauce on top of each of the chicken breasts, and then I'm topping them with quite a bit of mozzarella. You can also add additional Parmesan cheese on top as well if you'd like to do that. And it's going to go back into the oven for 10 more minutes, just until the sauce is heated through and the cheese has completely melted. And you're going to want to serve this with some pasta. This one I am serving with linguine. Traditionally, I think it's served with spaghetti, but my husband is not a spaghetti fan, which I just don't get it. I know I've talked about this several times on my channel, but I don't get that he does not like spaghetti, but will like linguine, like the taste difference. I don't get it. Explain it to me in the comments, please. For dinner tonight, I'm going to be doing the Chick-Fil-A Copycat using the chicken breast from Aldi. This I already got from Costco. I'm actually defrosting it right now. I completely forgot to take it out. but it'll defrost in no time. I also have the Chick-Fil-A sauce, and I have some pickles here on the side that were in the fridge. I want them to come kind of to room temperature because I don't want them super cold on there. But you can also add some like cheese, lettuce, tomato to these sandwiches, mustard, whatever you want to do. This is the very easy part. So this only takes about like 10 to 12 minutes to make in the air fryer, or you can do it in the oven too. Air fryer is just way easier. So what I'm going to get started on first is our sides. I'm going to make some potato wedges to go along with this. So let's get into this. So I have my potatoes already rinsed over here. These are little tiny guys. I usually have to cut them in half and then cut them again to make wedges, but these should be pretty good size. So for those curious about how to make potato wedges, because we all, you know, start off not knowing what to do, what you do is you cut it in half lengthwise, just like that, and then turn them over because it's going to be easier to cut them this way, and then cut them in half again. And they're kind of fat wedges. I don't want them that fat. I want them to cook through rather quickly. So then I turn them over and then I cut them in half again, as close to that like edge as possible. Just like that. And there you go. Makes perfect little wedges. And these will cook a lot faster than like thicker ones. I'm gonna cut the rest of these guys up. Okay, our wedges are all ready to go. I'm gonna put these into a bowl, and I'm gonna come in here with this seasoning. This is a fantastic seasoning to use on potato wedges in particular, because I like putting garlic in there anyway and Parmesan cheese on top. So this is a perfect one for this type of side dish. And I generally cook with olive oil, but since I have this, now that I went to Aldi, I have avocado oil. I'm gonna try cooking with it. So we'll give it a try. So into our bowl, add in a good dose of the avocado oil and a generous seasoning of the garlic Parmesan. And I'm going to use my hands because this is just going to be way easier to coat all the wedges. And I'm probably going to have to add a little bit of salt, even though I know there's probably salt in that seasoning. And I'm going to put this onto some parchment paper and put it in my 425-degree oven for about 35-40 minutes or so. I'll lay these out flat. I'm going to go in with my sea salt, or not my sea salt, my pink Himalayan salt too, over the tops of these guys. And the hard part is done. Alright, so I am going to start preheating my air fryer. I'm going to set it to 400, and this is only going to take about 12 minutes. So preheat it, and then once those are preheated, I'm going to stick 4 frozen chicken breasts in here. My air fryer is telling me to add the food, but real quick, these are amazing. These are little air fryer liners. They look like this. It helps keep the food from sticking in the basket itself. Let's stick it in here. But you don't want to put them in here until you're ready to add the food, because trust me, it's going to catch on fire. And I know this because this happened not that long ago. So definitely add them when you're adding the food. But I'm going to add in 4 of my frozen chicken breasts right in there. And that is it. And I am going to flip them at the halfway mark. Okay, so I'm going to flip these guys really quickly. There we go. I'll let them finish the rest of the way. These guys are done. So I'm going to move these over to a wire rack and cook 2 more, because I still have some time left on my potato wedges. So that's perfect. Everything will be done at the same time. I'm also toasting up the buns over there on my cast iron skillet. So I'm just going to move them right over here. So I want to check on these guys really quickly. Ooh, they're looking really, really good. I am going to flip them a little bit, like toss them, turn them a little bit, so that they roast on the other side as well. But they're coming together. They're definitely almost done. You know what? Today I'm going to do frozen veggies because that is just what I'm feeling. I'm gonna do a Cali blend. So to assemble, get it in toasted bun right here. I'm just gonna keep these really basic. Put some Chick-Fil-A sauce, some pickles I have over here that have definitely warmed up a little bit. My husband loves pickles, so I'll put a bunch on here for him. And breaded chicken right on top. Guys, that is it. It is super delicious, super easy. If you want to make this a deluxe chicken sandwich like they serve at Chick-fil-A, you would just add some lettuce, some cheese. You can even do some tomatoes. I do that all the time, but just keeping it simple today. Our delicious wedges are done as well. I'm gonna add these to the plate. Yum, yum, yum. And guys, let's please not be embarrassed anymore about frozen vegetables because these are just as good as fresh, more convenient too. Oh, those are steaming hot. There we go. Guys, and that is literally it. Super easy dinner. This next recipe has actually been in my recipe box since I was in college. There was a really awesome coworker who made me some chili one day, and it's probably because we were really poor and couldn't afford anything. She probably felt bad for us, but she gave us some chili for dinner one night, and it was phenomenal. And she shared her recipe with me, and since then I have altered it because I didn't want to take it directly from her, but I've snagged a few of her tips from her original recipe and I've made it basically my own, and it is just so good. And the best part about this is that you can freeze it because chili freezes very well. And honestly, this kind of makes me reminisce about my grandpa. He loved Wendy's chili. If you guys are familiar with the restaurant Wendy's, they had a pretty decent chili. I hate to say that because it is a fast food restaurant, but their chili was pretty good back in the day. But whenever I would make this, I would always send him some. So definitely a really nice recipe just to reminisce about, but I would love to share this with you guys. Everything will be linked down below or written out in the description box. Another really good memory I have just about chili in general is my family would always go to a chili cook-off on the coast. So I'm in Central California and there's a really lovely town called Cambria. And every year they would have an annual chili contest and there'd be like 16 to 20 booths of different chilies. And I remember one year one of the contestants was talking, I overheard her talking, saying, well, that chili across the way is not actually chili because it contains beans. And I had no idea. And I decided to kind of research it, but there is a ton of different chilies, at least here in the US. There's a vegetarian chili, which does not have any meat in it. There's Cincinnati chili, which has meat and beans, but it also contains, I think, cinnamon and maybe cocoa. And I think they eat that over spaghetti or hot dogs or something. Very different. I've never actually tried that, but I would definitely try that. There's also like just a plain American chili with ground beef and beans. There's Texas chili, which is chili con carne, which has no beans in it. It's just some vegetables and big chunks of beef. And then, of course, there's like white chili, which has chicken in it. So there's different types of chilies, a ton of them. I'm kind of making like an American style one, but it is loaded like to the brim with vegetables. So I don't want to say it's vegetarian because I am using ground turkey, which also, by the way, you can use ground beef or ground chicken if you would like. Use whatever you have, but mine is definitely more on the American side with just a ton of vegetables, and I use a ton of beans in here too. And to saute my vegetables in, I'm actually using bacon fat. Generally, I use either olive oil or a stick of butter in here, but I had bacon fat in my fridge and I decided to use it, and I think there's no returning to the original way that I used to make it. Using the bacon fat just brings so much more additional meaty flavor to the dish. I definitely recommend saving that bacon grease and using it for this chili. It is absolutely delightful and hearty. If you have made it this far, congratulations. We are almost done with the video, but I figured now would be a really good time to just introduce myself to those that are new to my channel. So like I mentioned, my name is Alicia. We are a family of 5. I have 2 boys that are 11 and 8, and then a daughter who's 3.5. I have been with my husband Dan for almost 18 years this summer. And on my channel, you can find quite a bit of food related content. I do a lot of grocery hauls. I like going to Costco, Aldi, Walmart, Winco. And on those videos, I generally share my meal plans that I'm going to be making for the week. You'll also find on my channel a bunch of the kids lunchbox related content. So sharing just different ideas to stick in your kids' lunches. I also have some family travel on there as well. So I hope that you guys will subscribe and stick around. I would really love to get to know you. So please leave me a comment if you're new here, because I do love chatting with you guys. So after we are done eating a bunch of this chili, obviously there's quite a bit left. What I used to do was stick this into just large freezer gallon size bags and then lay them flat in the freezer to freeze. But I found these silicone cubes where you can just pre-portion whatever it is. So in this case, chili, but I've done it for broth. You can also do it for like marinara sauce or pesto sauce. And you would just stick them in the freezer. And then once they're completely frozen, you would just wiggle them out of the silicone cubes and you already have a perfectly like pre-portioned, in this case, chili bowl. So I was doing the 1 cups because 1 cup of chili is perfect for a serving size, especially like for lunch or something. So I highly recommend these, you guys. They are fantastic. So for tonight's dinner, my son has a baseball game tonight. So it was a perfect opportunity to use one of my frozen meals that I made last month. I have a video, I'll post it down below, but this is the last one. My husband had already made the other one while I was gone, and so now I'm going to use this one. So this is the teriyaki chicken. I did defrost it last night. I put it in the fridge and it's ready to go. So I'm going to bake it in the oven. So I'm just going to pour everything into this baking dish right here, but I am going to spray it first. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this in the oven and do a delay start. So I've seen that function on my oven. I wasn't sure how to use it. I was scared to use it. I finally have tried it like 2 times, I believe, maybe 3, and I love it so much. So that is what I'm going to be doing today, and I'll show you in case you don't know how to do it. It is so easy. Why I haven't done it before, I have no idea. So I am going to just arrange these so that they cook evenly and they are totally thawed, so they are good to go. Okay, and I already have rice on the stove that I could just reheat really quick as soon as we get home. I'm just gonna show you real quick. Let's come over here to my oven. I'm not gonna put it in here right now, but I'm just gonna show you how to use the delay start. If you have this option, I think most, if not all, ovens do. But what you're going to do is you're going to press bake, and let's just say 360 or whatever. Okay, so then you press that, and then you press delay start. Now, what time do you want it to start? Let's just say at 4 o'clock. Okay, so we press that, and then we're going to go to the cooking time, which is going to be, let's just say, a minute. And then we're going to press delay start. And so, because I asked for it to start at 4, it should be coming on here in about, I don't know, 40 seconds or so. Let's see what it does. And there it goes. It is starting. It's only going to be cooking for 1 hour. I asked it to start at 4 o'clock. I've been messing around with it because I always want to make sure I get the order right. So that is how you use it also. Ta-da! I finally cleaned my oven last night. It was so disgusting. I need to learn how to clean though in between the doors, like so the windows, because this window is kind of filthy. You can kind of see like a little some streaks right there. I need to figure out how to get in here. I'll figure that out later, but I completely removed this door, which is so nice. Highly recommend doing that. So anyway, I will stick the whole baking dish in here once we are getting ready to go, and then I will situate the timer, and then when we get home, our food will be all done and ready for us. Guys, this meal is absolutely delicious. This should be in your freezer. This one is awesome. Now, I do recommend, I know this is a freezer meal, so you don't have to do this, but if you have the time, what I recommend doing is pouring off all of that sauce that's in the bottom of that baking dish and putting it into a saucepan and bringing it to a boil or a simmer just to thicken it, and then pour it back over the chicken. I just think that would be so good. It was really good the way it was. There was nothing left. But if you have the time, definitely do that. And guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye, guys.